I never in my life ever thought I would design uniforms, ever. I mean, it was the last thing in the world I wanted. And I got a call from Benton and Bowles, one of the large advertising companies. They said, have you ever designed uniforms? I said, I don't even know what they are. They said, well, we have a company who'd be interested in your redesigning their look. I met the president of AVIS, who was really interested in having his people look decent. He had been beaten up so much because they were wearing red from head to toe. I gave them a solid base of banker's gray, and I put the red jackets over it, and they thought I was a genius. AVIS was my first job, and once I did that, I became sort of the go-to guy. Everybody suddenly started to want to do an airline, and I felt the same way. So the first airline I did was TWA. When I was contacted by TWA, I was really very excited because it happened to be my favorite airline. TWA came into my life when Valentino was the their uniform. TWA was global. It was going to Italy, it was going to England, and his uniform was a deep maroon. And all of the buttons had a V on them. He was so important that he convinced them that the V was more important than the TWA. They said to me something that shocked me. They said, we've been so dull. Let's really go out and do color. I said, you're not kidding me now, are you? Because I would love it, but nobody has ever done that. So I did yellow, orange, cobalt blue, and beige. And I don't think I'd ever do it again. If I have one corporation in my uniform life that I love dearly, it's FedEx. When I went to FedEx, it was called Federal Express. When the day came that somebody up there said, I don't like the name Federal Express, we should really modernize it. They became more sportive, they became sharper, fresher. So the uniform was the thing that actually drove the name. You have to work on fit, function, fabrication. You're limited, so you have to come up with colors that perhaps are more explosive or are more expressive. Color is the most important thing in uniforms. It represents who these monster corporations are. When I first was approached by McDonald's, I was shocked. The first uniform I did, the one that's here at the school, is sort of their look that people remember. It was so aggressive looking that it became their symbol. In fact, when I went there, their sign was, we've just served our millionth hamburger. Now they're in the billions and billions and billions and billions. So, but it was a great 15 years of my life. I think a lot of what I say about uniforms go back to how Americans feel about uniforms. Why I think they don't particularly like uniforms is because most Americans aren't used to being in the Army, Navy, or the Marines. I was drafted into the Army, and I'm not a big person. I'm 5'4". It took about 2 weeks to get my size. But once I got my size, my uniform became almost like my lover. I took good care of it. It was mine. I'm a neat person, and I liked putting on the uniform. I liked the smell of the shirt. I don't think that was a reason I ended up in uniforms, but I think the uniform comes out of the personality that I am, and I think that's probably why I did uniforms. I never think of it that way, but I think the orderly mind that I had for the way I dress had a lot to do with the orderly mind that goes into uniforms.